So I get questions all the time about how to time the market, when to sell your home so you can sell on the top of the market, get the most bang for your buck, maybe rent for a couple of years, move in with some family, and then buy again when the market comes down and make a killing. So one thing I'm hearing over and over again in this current market is sellers or potential sellers that are considering selling their home, cashing out on the equity on their home, and their thought process is, I'm going to buy in a couple of years when the market crashes. When the market comes down, I'm going to make a killing. I just have to wait. Just wait for the market to come down. The reality is one of the worst things you can do, and this is across the board, just about every single person will agree with me here, trying to time the market is generally not a good idea. But an interesting thing happened to me the other day. I had a client who told me, Dan, I either need to sell my house right now or I need to wait 2 years to sell my home because I'm going to get some tax savings if I wait 2 years to sell my home. It has to be exactly 2 years or maybe more than 2 years. And I told this client, well, you know what? If I were selling my home, I might be a little concerned about where the market is going to be in 2 years. I'm very confident we're not at the top of the market yet, but 2 years from now, it's a little bit concerning. And it got me thinking, if in 2 years from now, I would be concerned about selling my home in that time frame, what is different about 2 years than 6 months, 4 months? Now, what's the difference? Where are the numbers? Where are the stats actually coming in? And maybe, just maybe, if we really dig into the numbers, we can pinpoint the exact moment when more homes will start hitting the market and the potential of home prices going down will increase. And just a word of advice, if you really are considering selling your home based on what I'm saying here today, I would recommend that you get a second opinion. It's always good to have someone know your exact situation, your exact needs and wants, and can analyze for your area if it's a good idea or if it's a bad idea. So between March of 2021 and March of 2023, is there going to be a time that's going to be an optimal time to sell your home? Is there going to be a time when home prices are going to start coming down? That's exactly what we're going to dive into today. So if you're interested, this is going to be a very data-driven video. So if you just want to know the answer, you can fast forward to the end. That's okay. I'm cool with that. If you hang around till the very end, I'll add a couple of additional tips if you are considering selling your home to help you get top dollar, to help you get more than you think or probably even your real estate agent thinks that you can get for your home. So first, let's start with how many homes do we have on the market and how many homes do we need on the market for home prices to start coming down? And there is a number that we can go off of. This is what everybody uses for figuring out if we're in a balanced market or we're not in a balanced market. And that is having 6 months of inventory. 6 months of inventory means if you take all of the homes that are currently available on the market today and the average number of homes that are being sold on a daily basis, how many days would it take to sell all of the inventory that we currently have in stock? And if we look back at February of 2021, we had 2,600 homes available on the market in San Diego County, which accounts for 0.8 months of inventory. So if you extrapolate that out to be a balanced market where neither buyer or seller is in control of the market, we need 17,000 more homes to hit the market in San Diego County, which means we need about 18 to 20,000 homes to hit the market for it to be a buyer's market. Okay, at least now we have a number that we can go with. And the two ways that we can get to more of a buyer's market, we can get out of the seller's market, would be if demand changes or supply changes. It's pretty simple, supply and demand, right? So as far as demand goes, the amount of buyers that are actively out there looking for homes, there's two main scenarios that we can see. One is that interest rates can go up. And we were just at historic lows. They've started to creep up a little bit, but most people out there would agree that most likely interest rates are not going to go up to a significant number by the end of the year. Maybe creep up 0.5%, maybe a full percent. I really don't see that happening either. And that is going to pull some buyers off the market, but not a large number of buyers off of the market. And the other reason demand can go down is because more and more buyers are going to be priced out of the market. If the market goes up, if the median home goes up another $100,000, there are going to be more people that can't afford at that price point to own a home in San Diego. And now let's get into the reasons why supply would increase, why inventory would increase in San Diego so we can get up those 15,000 homes. Starting with the elephant in the room, which is foreclosures and evictions. Now, we all know these have been put off through the CARES Act. And when Biden came into office, he's extended that out until June 30th. So people cannot be foreclosed on or evicted in most scenarios. And to extend this out even further, the city of San Diego has added their own protections, basically extending this out at minimum of 60 days after July 1st. So if nothing else changes, we're talking people can start to go through the foreclosure and eviction process around September 1st here in San Diego. Then the next question is, all right, people can be foreclosed on, people can be evicted. Now, how long is it going to take for properties to get onto the market? Let's talk about these processes a little bit. So as far as eviction, when you're trying to get some tenants out of your property, there is a high likelihood at this point, if a landlord has tenants that have not been paying rent for the last 6 months, Maybe they're done with it. Maybe they don't want this investment property anymore. They're just ready to sell it and make a little bit of money. Well, the process of evicting those people out of that property easily could take 1.5 to 3 months. There's a bunch of red tape, especially in California, that can delay this process over and over again. So let's say 3 months to get them evicted, and then another 1 to 2 months to get the property fixed up and ready to sell. So we're talking another 5-6 months later that these properties are going to start hitting the market. And it's not much different with foreclosures either. The whole foreclosure process in California can take 200 days, maybe even more. So as I promised, let's actually put some numbers on this so it starts to make sense. So we're talking 6 to 8 months after people are allowed to be foreclosed on, after people are allowed to be evicted, we're actually going to see, hopefully, maybe, possibly, a flood of these properties start to hit the market, which would put us at about February to March of 2022. And then the million-dollar question is, how many people that are not current with their mortgages right now are going to be foreclosed on? How many homes are actually going to hit the market? That is a million-dollar question, but we can use some numbers and some logic to extrapolate out from here. San Diego County has 33 million residents, which is roughly, actually, pretty close to 1% of the US population. And although the quantity of homeowners in America that are not current on their mortgage is steadily decreasing and has been for the last 6 to 8 months, we still have seen 2.4 million Americans that did not pay their mortgage in December of 2020. So let's just say that half of those 2.4 million Americans that didn't pay their mortgage in December end up being foreclosed on. And if San Diego is roughly 1% of the US population, that means 12,000 homes could potentially hit the market through the eviction process. Now, there's no doubt I'm making some assumptions here. The reality is there are a lot of Americans that took advantage of the CARES Act and went into forbearance on their homes just because they were trying to get away with not having to pay mortgage for a couple of months. Now, how many of those Americans actually couldn't afford the mortgage and how many of them were just trying to get away with not paying a couple months of mortgage? I don't know. You don't know.
No one knows.
But regardless, we're going to go with that 12,000 number because that's the best number we can come up with right now. And the second reason is because people are waiting to sell their homes because they're worried about becoming buyers. Cool. They can get a whole bunch of money for their home. They could sell their home for top dollar, as most real estate agents are telling you. But then what the heck are they going to do? They know how hard it is to buy a home. They don't want to get involved in that type of situation. So as more homes start to hit the market, then these potential sellers are going to start selling their homes because they're ready. They're ready. They're just waiting for the buyer side of things to get a tiny bit easier. So how many homes is this actually going to account for? I don't really have an answer for that. But if we have 12,000 homes that are going to hit the market because of foreclosures and evictions, and we need about 15,000 homes to hit the market, that means that this gap, these other sellers that have just been waiting, as long as there are around 3,000 sellers, then we're going to hit a neutral market. If not, we're going to turn into more of a buyer's market. Again, this isn't if. Trying to time the market is a bad idea. It's generally a bad idea. But hey, we've run the numbers here, and this seems like it makes a lot of sense. And again, we're looking at somewhere around February to March of 2022, and probably rolling into the summer, we'll start to see inventory increase a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Here's bad news. We've seen the median home in San Diego for a detached property go up 15.6% in the last 12 months, from $656,000 to $760,000. If that trend continues, we're talking about another increase from $760,000 to $880,000 for the median detached home in San Diego County.
That's a lot of money.
Before we start to see any changes in the market. And when we get to that point, the question is, will the market simply balance out or will it start to come down? Because if we're going up another 15% before we see any changes, then man, I can tell you, I've seen people sit on the sidelines to watch the homes that they want go up by $100,000. And that stinks. So if your number one goal is to sell your home at the tip top of the market, we're not there yet. Don't listen to your real estate agent neighbor that's telling you it is the best time to ever sell your home in history, because it's not. We still have a little bit more time before we're there. And again, it can be really tough to time these things. So when is going to be the absolute best time to sell your home? Maybe somewhere around 12 months. I mean, that's the conclusion we came to in this video. But the reality is there are a lot of other variables that go into this. And I can tell you guys, the reason why I decided to make this video is because I had someone call me up, someone that watched my YouTube videos and said, Dan, my real estate agent is telling me that I should sell my home because I'm going to sell it for top dollar. I can go rent something with my family for a year, 2 years, wait for the market to crash, and we can make a bunch of money. And I'm really scared because I'm worried that it's not going to go that smoothly. And I can tell you guys, there are 20,000 real estate agents in San Diego County and only 2,000 homes on the market, a little over 2,000 homes on the market, which means real estate agents are desperate. They're desperate for listings. They're desperate for business. So of course, most of them are going to tell you that you should do these things because it benefits them. It doesn't benefit you. Don't let that be the reason you make this huge financial decision for you and for your family. And as promised, even though this is a crazy, crazy seller's market, if you want to sell your home, there are some easy things that you can do to get more bang for your buck, get more money for your property. Just because the market's hot doesn't mean you need to put a sign in your yard and sell it as is. It's not. If you want to net more money, there's tons of things you can do. And I can tell you from working with buyers, what buyers want is a home to be move-in ready. They want new carpet, they want freshly painted walls, and you know what they're looking for? They're looking for that freshly upgraded kitchen, countertops, cabinets. They're looking for those subway tiles. Who doesn't like some good subway tiles? So I'm going to give you a massive, massive tip from my playbook. I work with a company called Curbio, and they are in all sorts of different markets. There's no affiliation. They don't even know I'm doing this. In fact, don't tell them I'm doing this because I might get in trouble for talking about them on here. They're a great company and they can help you kind of flip your house or get it ready to sell. So if you don't have money that you want to pay out of pocket to do some upgrades, if you don't want to deal with contractors, you can have myself or someone else come in, take photos of your house, and they can give you quotes on upgrades over the internet. They're going to specifically focus on doing things that can add more value to your home at a lesser expense. They want to help you net more money into your pocket. And here's the best part. You don't have to pay for any of this out of pocket. They expedite the entire process, and you actually pay for these items through the close of escrow. You can't beat that. So what do you think? Was this an accurate assessment? Do you disagree with my thoughts? If so, let me know in the comment section below. Let's have a friendly little discussion. I'd love to know your thoughts on the situation. And if you think I'm right, do me a favor, hit that like button. That lets the YouTube gods know that you like this video and they'll help put it out in front of more people. And I would really appreciate that. And as always, if you're looking to buy a home here in sunny San Diego, I'm happy to help you out. I'm happy to have that conversation. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'll see you next time.